While looking at several of the comments on my last video dealing with ICE raids, it's interesting seeing comments from Latin community who say that Black people should be ashamed of themselves and should be concerned about having similar things done to us. My question is, when did white supremacy ever stop terrorizing freedmen Black communities? Immigrants really need to learn the true history of this racist country before stepping into the United States. Well, today, we have another freedman Black American who has a strong message for the Latin community. Take a look.
It's always difficult for me to figure out why people expect Black people to be in the front line of fights. Now, let me start off by saying that everything that's transpiring in Cali and throughout the country with immigration and people being kidnapped is absolutely disgusting. I'm in support of it in absolutely zero ways. But I'm also fucking realistic. I was watching a video and there was a young woman who was going on a tangent about how Black people are not out helping communities that are Hispanic and how they were there when it was Black Lives Matter. Okay, let's say you were, right? Are we going to actually completely negate the history that has transpired between the Hispanic community and the Black community? Are we going to pretend that way too many of you love to shuck and jive and say mi no negra, mi no negro? Are we going to pretend that way too many of you are very disrespectful, dismissive, nasty, and vindictive to people of color? Are we going to pretend that you walk around saying the N-word as if that shit is okay, but if we said the S-word, the whole fucking world would fall to calamity? Are we going to pretend that when we go to bodegas and cuchifritos that we are not put to the end of the line and given the less friendly service? Are we going to pretend that you don't nigger us? Are we going to sit here and act like we don't see you pretending that you are not Black as well? Are we going to negate the fact that way too many of you voted for Donald Trump while being Black, but you pretended the whole time that you weren't? Like, what part of this do you anticipate for us to stand up and put ourselves in harm's way for you? When did you do it for us? And then you point this finger at us and you make it seem as if we're doing something wrong to you, but all of the liberties that you receive when you come to this country is because Black people fought. So, if you want those liberties to sustain, then it looks like you're gonna have to fight this time. No, Black people are not coming outside. No, we are not putting ourselves physically in harm's way. No, we are not your protector. No, we are not your defender. No, we simply don't fucking have to. We don't have to put ourselves in danger to protect you when no one ever puts themselves in danger when it's time to protect us. So yes, I will sympathize with you. Yes, I will support you verbally. Yes, I will speak out about how all of it is wrong. But no, I will not die for you. No. Because way too many of my ancestors already have died for you, and you are disrespectful about it. You are disrespectful about the fact that you come from the same fucking place that we come from. You want to be white adjacent so fucking bad, and now that you're seeing that you are not, you want us to come fight with you when we've been telling you the whole time that we are the fucking same. But no, because we speak a different language, you want to other us when you are the same as us. So now this is a medicine you have to take independently. We cannot continue to put ourselves in these dangerous spaces because you refuse to use your brain and you refuse to listen. You know what your history is. You know where your people come from. But mi no negra, mi no negra, mi no negra. But you are. You are just as fucking Black as me. And now that reality is giving you a gut punch. Go have a conversation with the individuals of your community who forgot who they were and where they came from. Tell them to get up and leave out of their homes and go onto the front line because this is their fault. Tell them that their blood needs to be spilled. Tell them that they need black eyes. Tell them that they did this, so now they have to right it, but don't turn to us. We did not do this. We did not vote this way. We told you how to vote. We told you how to protect yourself for months. And you were so committed to the fact that you were not a part of us. So now we are not a part of this. It's not that we're not a part of you, because we're not that ignorant. We know who you are and where you came from, honestly, more than many of you do. So you need to figure out what is the remedy for this situation and stop turning to us and getting angry because we're not saving you. We don't have to.
I have traveled and lived in different countries. What I have seen is that many countries, whether they are Latin, Asian, European, etc., racist behaviors are mainly covert actions, activities that are hidden or concealed, or overt actions, activities that are open, more in your face. Years ago, as I was on my journey of learning Spanish language, I used to watch several Spanish TV programs such as Sábado Gigante, Despierta America, 12 Corazones, and Primer Impacto, etc. While watching these shows through the years, I began to notice that these shows rarely, or if at all, had Afro-Latin people on the shows as host of shows or news anchors. That's when I started looking into the history of Latin American countries. On this Mahogany Culture and Travel channel, I have done a video about the history of Black people in Mexico that you can look at, that speaks further on the ancient history of Afro-Mexicans. Since the 1910 Mexican Revolution, people of African descent in Mexico were largely excluded from official documentation and national identity. In Mexico, there is a popular expression of mejorar la raza, a phrase that is used in Latin American countries, which means improve the race. It implies that you should marry or have children with a whiter person so you'll have better-looking kids. La raza has historically been used to refer to the mixed-race populations, primarily, though not always exclusively in the Western Hemisphere. For over a century, Mexico maintained a racial ideology known as mestizaje, which promoted the idea of a mixed-race national identity that primarily included indigenous and Spanish ancestry. This ideology effectively erased the presence and contributions of Afro-Mexicans from the country's history and identity. It was not until 2015 that Mexico officially recognized Black Mexicans as citizens of Mexico in a national census, acknowledging them as citizens with distinct Afro-descendant heritage. This was a significant milestone, as it allowed for Afro-Mexicans to be counted in demographic data, leading to a greater push for their rights and inclusion in national policies. However, racism and colorism remain major issues across Latin America, including in Mexico, Brazil, Honduras, Venezuela, and other countries. Since the 1970s, California, particularly Los Angeles, has seen repeated tension between the Latin and Black American communities, particularly those descended from U.S. slavery, known as Freedmen. While mainstream media often frames the Latino and Black communities as natural allies due to shared struggles with poverty and discrimination, historical and grassroots realities tell a more complicated truth. Dating back to the 1950s, the League of United Latin American Citizens, LULAC, the oldest Latino civil rights organization in the U.S., made strategic decisions to distance itself from Black Americans. During the civil rights era, instead of aligning with Black-led movements like the NAACP or SNCC, LULAC sought to elevate the legal status of Latinos by identifying as white in court documents and census classifications. They rejected being grouped with Black people, fearing that association would weaken their quest for inclusion into white America. The organization consistently prioritized assimilation and upward mobility within a white supremacist framework over building a multiracial coalition. Over the decades, Freedmen leaders in Los Angeles, such as those from the Black Panther Party and later grassroots activists, tried numerous times to build a meaningful coalition with Latino organizations. From the 1970s into the early 2000s, efforts were made to unite around issues like police brutality, education, labor rights, and gang violence. But these efforts repeatedly failed due to a lack of reciprocal commitment from Latino leadership. Many Latino organizations and community groups, especially in Southern California, either ignored the plight of Black Americans or pursued self-interest without acknowledging the anti-Blackness within their own ranks. The political term Black and Brown Coalition was often used by Latino politicians and advocacy groups to secure support or funding, but rarely followed by actions that genuinely uplifted Black communities. Perhaps the most violent expression of anti-Blackness came not from policy, but from the streets. Beginning in the 1980s and escalating through the 1990s, Mexican gangs in Los Angeles, including Barrio 204, Florencia 13, and the notorious 18th Street Gang, carried out organized campaigns to terrorize and forcibly remove Black families from historically Black neighborhoods such as Watts, Compton, South Central, and Highland Park. These were not random gang conflicts. Federal and city investigations confirmed these were racially motivated hate crimes. Black residents were told they didn't belong, pew-pewette, for simply walking on the sidewalk, and sometimes unalived solely for being Black in a now Latino majority area. This era saw the decline of Black presence in certain areas where they had once been dominant. Many Black families fled to the Inland Empire or out of state altogether, with little to no political or community pushback from Latino leaders on the violence. Racist attitudes weren't limited to gangs. Over decades, several Latino politicians in LA and California have expressed disdain for Black communities. Most notably, the 2022 leaked audio from LA City Council members Nuri Martinez, Gil Cedillo, and Kevin De Leon revealed them mocking Black children, calling them derogatory names, and plotting to weaken Black political power. These weren't fringe figures. They were the elected leadership of the city. Their comments prove that anti-Blackness runs deep in political institutions, even among different Latin ethnic groups. In the police ranks, many Latino officers adopted and enforced the same anti-Black policies and culture long embedded in LAPD, disproportionately targeting Black men with excessive force and racial profiling. These officers often displayed more loyalty to the blue wall than to any notion of Black and brown solidarity. In recent years, the Latin community has suffered aggressive immigration enforcement actions, especially during the Trump administration. ICE raids have torn apart families and deported people who lived in the U.S. for decades. Many Black observers have called this a form of karmic justice, not out of malice, but as a reminder that when Latin communities chose to align themselves with white supremacy, whether in the form of silence on Black suffering, displacement through gentrification, or political disrespect, those same structures turned on them. Black Americans, especially freedmen, warned for decades that racism does not stop with them. But unity cannot be achieved when one side continuously ignores or participates in the subjugation of the other. Tell me what you think about this topic. Hope you find the information in this video informative. Feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment. Thanks for watching.